Hi, Ed Goldfarb. As you can see from my jacket, I'm a former Navy fighter pilot. Everything on the jacket is authentic. Every patch means something. Every patch has a story. One of the planes I flew, this was the F-9 Cougar, flew the A-4 Skyhawk over there. Of all the patches on my jacket, this is the one I'm most proud of. Even though these are my Navy wings, this is SEER School. If I had to go through SEER School again, the Navy could have my wings back. It was that tough. So basically, I've gone from a Top Gun Navy pilot to a Top Gun realtor because I will always have your 6 o'clock. I want to tell you a story about SEER School. I know you're going to love it. SEER School was a top secret school at the time. It's not top secret anymore. The word got out years later. Basically, anybody that was going into combat had to go through SEER School. SEER School stands for Survival, Escape, Resistance, and Evasion. Now, even as a Navy pilot, I heard about it. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was basically a camping trip. I was going to have fun. Ho, ho, ho! Was I surprised. I got there and the first couple of days was fine. You lived off the land. Then you had to spend 2 days evading the enemy up in the mountains, digging yourself into foxholes. I'm not going to go through all that's another story in itself. But basically, if you are successful, there's about 80 of us, in evading the enemy for 2 days, you have to eventually turn yourself into a POW camp, or to go to POW camp. Obviously, it's simulated, but they had like Vietnamese guards all talking Vietnamese. They had Vietnamese music. You thought you were in a Vietnamese prison camp. That being said, there were 4 of us that made it to the last checkpoint without being captured, so we all turned ourselves in. The thing I'm most proud about in the SEER School was, as a prisoner, we had to walk through a gate to go to the interrogation room. Now, they made, their whole idea was to, what's the word I'm looking for, degrade the soldiers, and everybody, almost without exception, actually everybody without exception, would crawl underneath the gate, because this is what the Vietnamese guard, the Viet Cong guard wanted us to do. They wanted us to crawl underneath the gate. They wanted us to stand latrine duty. Bottom line is, I refused to crawl underneath the gate. And I don't know, it was a dozen times when I was going to interrogation. They finally would, well, let me put it this way. They dragged me under the gate about a dozen times, and finally, on about the 30th, 40th time, they actually announced that prisoner 71 can now walk through the gate. I refused to stand latrine duty, so I didn't have to stand latrine duty. Then you were supposed to escape, and there, like I said, there were 80 of us. I didn't know who was in charge of the escape committee, but they had what they call a voucher, and it was called the clandestine committee, and they would come up to you with all the credentials and say, here's your credentials. It's actually, for simulated purposes, it was a little chip, and it gave you their permission to escape. So I waited till the guards weren't looking. I crawled underneath the barracks. Again, I watched for the guards to be turned away. I went underneath the barbed wire fence into a ditch full of water and out of the compound. I escaped. For that, they awarded me a bologna sandwich, which at that time tasted like the Thanksgiving feast. And they made me head of the clandestine committee because they felt that not enough POWs were trying to escape. I went around and spoke to every one of my prisoners, my fellow prisoners. No one wanted to escape. So I escaped again. Then I went back and tried to get others to escape. Again, no one would escape. I escaped the 3rd time and was caught, and for that they beat me. Now, this is very important. When you're in that interrogation room, they are actually interrogating you, and they put you in a little black box. And for me, I'm only 5'9", and I fit in the box okay, so I actually got some sleep. Most people found it very claustrophobic. When they were interrogating me, they put me, the room was about, I would say, 5 feet wide, and they would throw you against the wall, they beat you, they slap you. One of the guards gave me the American flag. I held it to my chest. Then he took it away and threw it on the floor. I picked it up, held it on my chest. He took it away, threw it on the floor. Then he spit in my face. Instinctively, I spit back in his face. I should not have done it. Of course, they really beat the you-know-what out of me for that. Bottom line is, when I was being debriefed on my performance at SEER School, They said I did everything perfectly. I upheld the traditions of an American soldier, but they would have killed me for spitting back in the guard's face. Now, what does this again have to do with realtor? Well, it shows extreme confidence, extreme competence, extreme accountability, and if you're one of my clients, not only are you getting 29 years experience, almost 2,000 sales, but I'm always going to have your 6 o'clock. No one's more important than my clients. Ed Goldfarb, a trusted name in South Florida real estate since 1992. So if you have any questions about real estate, don't hesitate for 1 second to pick up the phone and call me. Because if you got questions, I've got all the answers. Thanks for listening.